Hi, today I'll be talking about the economic problems in the UK and how the government attempts to address these. Economic problems of the UK economy. The UK has repeating periods of boom and bust, which shows the economy is unstable and struggles to maintain steady growth. Government debt is a major problem because the UK spends £47 billion a year just on interest payments, which limits how much can be spent on services like defence or transport. Debt as a percentage of GDP has increased massively at the end of the last Labour government and has not been reversed, showing long-term financial pressure. Poor industrial relations in the 1970s caused frequent strikes and low productivity, which weakened the economy. The widening income gap between rich and poor has increased inequality and poverty, creating social and economic challenges. During recessions, the UK faces a deficiency of aggregate demand, meaning people and businesses are not spending enough, which slows growth and increases unemployment. When the economy is close to full capacity, increasing demand can cause inflation to rise, which reduces purchasing power. How the government prioritises these problems. To boost demand during recessions, the government or central bank cuts interest rates to encourage borrowing and spending. When interest rates are already low, the government uses quantitative easing to increase the money supply and support investment. The government can cut taxes and increase spending to stimulate demand and replace falling private sector spending. When the economy is growing, the government may raise taxes or reduce spending to create a budget surplus and control rising debt. To improve productivity and reduce unemployment, the government uses supply-side policies such as lowering income tax, privatising industries, and improving education and infrastructure. Devaluation can be used to make exports cheaper and boost domestic demand by improving competitiveness. Fiscal policy. Fiscal policy is when the government changes taxation and government spending to influence the economy. How does fiscal policy regulate the economy? It increases taxes, or reducing spending slows the economy down by cutting demand. Fiscal policy can also be used to reduce inequality through progressive taxation. Higher taxes on businesses, such as business rates or corporation tax, reduce profits and investment. Governments use fiscal policy to stabilise demand during recessions or booms, to manage government borrowing and debt, and to influence business behaviour, investment and employment. Monetary policy. Monetary policy is controlled by the central bank and involves changing interest rates and using quantitative easing. How monetary policy regulates the economy. Higher interest rates lower consumer spending, investment and demand in the economy. Lower interest rates encourage borrowing and spending, increasing demand. How does quantitative easing regulate the economy? Quantitative easing increases the money supply by buying bonds, which end up bringing down the interest rates, providing a boost to the economy. It is used when interest rates are already very low and demand still needs support. Governments use monetary policy to control inflation, stabilise demand during economic shocks, influence borrowing, investment and exchange rates. Supply-side policies. Supply-side policies try to increase aggregate supply by improving productivity, efficiency and long-term growth. An example of this would be improving education and training to increase productivity in the economy. How supply-side policies regulate the economy. They reduce unemployment by making labour markets more flexible. They increase long-term economic growth by improving productivity. They help lower inflation by encouraging the economy to produce more goods and services. Governments use supply-side policies to solve major problems like low productivity, reduce unemployment, and to support economic growth. Economic growth trends. In 2026, the UK economy is slowly growing at around 1% to 1.4%. Weak consumer confidence, low productivity, and cautious business investment is holding back growth. The impact on employment: slow growth means fewer new jobs, and unemployment is expected to rise above 5%. The impact on economic growth: lower spending and weaker business confidence make the recovery slower. Labour market trends. The labour market is softening, with fewer vacancies and slower wage growth. Public sector hiring continues, but private sector hiring is weaker. The impact on employment: more people are looking for work, but fewer jobs are being created, which may push unemployment rates even higher. The impact on economic growth: when people earn less and feel less secure, they spend less, which is slowing the economy. Inflation and monetary policy. Inflation is expected to fall further in 2026. The Bank of England is likely to cut interest rates to around 3% by the end of the year. The impact on employment: lower interest rates may help some businesses invest and protect jobs. The impact on economic growth: rate cuts support growth, but the effect is limited because consumer confidence is still low. Fiscal policy and government spending. The government is tightening fiscal policy in 2026, even though some areas like housing, green energy, education, and healthcare continue to receive funding. Impact on employment: the public spending may create jobs, but higher taxes and tighter budgets may reduce private sector hiring. The impact on economic growth: government spending helps in some areas, but tighter budgets may slow the overall growth. Overall, the UK economy in 2026 faces slower growth, rising unemployment, and cautious business behaviour. Falling inflation and interest rate cuts help, but structural problems and global risks continue to hold the economy back. Thank you very much.